Hey folks, today this is our Theory 3 class, and what we'll be doing is we're going to review spelling some of our tall chords. We'll also do a little bit of analysis together, and then we're going to take a kind of get a start on looking at a piece by Brahms, so a Romantic composer. But we're not going to get too far into it. I'm going to save more of that for a later video. Anyway, one of the things you can do, of course, throughout the video is you can hit the pause button and do some things. So I've actually got 3 chords for you right here for you to go ahead and spell, and then I'll walk you through each of them. So this is actually a good place to go ahead and hit pause and spell these chords. Go ahead and pause. Well, I'm assuming you spent some time on these, so let's go ahead and try it out. So anytime I see all of these big things and numbers, this is the first thing I do. F min 11, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put an F minor 7 on it. D major sharp 9, I'm going to put a D major 7 on this one. E flat with a bunch of stuff, I'm going to put E flat major minor 7. Right, if it says min, it's a minor 7 chord. Major, it's a major 7 chord. It says nothing, it's major minor 7. So let's do this. There's our minor 7. Now we need a 9 and an 11. 9's going to be major second up. So there's my 9. And the 11 is a perfect fourth. There is our F minor 11. Now let's try D major with sharp 9. We have D major 7 on bottom, and then regular 9 would be a major second, but this is sharp 9. This is a pretty wild chord. Sharp 9 on top gives it the edge. And here we have E flat with flat 13 and flat 9. Let's give this one a shot. So we'll start with major minor 7. And I'm going to go ahead and put in regular 9, regular 11, and regular 13. So here is regular 9, and which is a major second, regular 11, and 13 is going to be major 6. Now we need to lower my 9 and my 13. So F will become F flat, and 13C will become C flat. This is also the kind of chord where we might decide to leave the 11th out because it will clash with the 3rd. That could be our preference. Take out the 11, it cleans it up just a little bit. I'm going to take a moment and make sure I actually hit record on this thing. All right, it's recording. I just had this vision of me giving a whole long lesson and not hitting the record button. Let's take out page 22 and finish this Duke Ellington song that we had started the other day. So we're on page 22. So this is Prelude to a Kiss, and we went ahead and we did the beginning of it, but we didn't finish our analysis, and I think it would be useful for us to finish this. While the screen's loading up, I'm going to go ahead and play the last, I'm going to start on the last 4 measures of page 22. Prelude to a Kiss. Very lovely. And it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, and we have this. This E actually takes a while, but eventually gets to that F sharp. And then this chord, and then our last chord. Why don't you go ahead and I'll play it one more time so you can listen to it. And then after I play it, why don't you pause and see if you can give me the name, the root, and sonority of each of these harmonies. I'll zoom in a little bit better so when I write it down we can see. So we're not going for Roman numerals, we're going just for root and quality of the chord. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead and pause, and unpause when you're ready to go through this with me. Okay, let's see, we have D, we have F, we have A, we have C, so D, F, A, C, and then we have G way on top. So let's see, we have D, F, A, C. We don't have an E, but we do have a G. Let's look at the very bottom, D, F, A, C, that would be D min. And then we have a 9, the E, which is missing, and then G is the 11. So this will be D min 11. There's our D min 11. And let's look at the next one. This has G, B, D sharp, F natural. Yeah, this is an odd bird. If we had D natural, then we could call it G7. But we have the D sharp. And with the D sharp, that makes this an altered chord. It's the 5th has been raised, so we will call this G7 with a sharp 5. That's not a good place to write. I'll put it here. G7, sharp 5. And here's the difference between the regular 5 and the sharp 5. There's our G7. There's the sharp 5. You can see it has a little bit more pull with that sharp 5. It gives it a little bit more direction. And where would you expect G7 to resolve? Good old C major. So this is just a C chord here. I'm going to do this next chord, and I'm going to assume the F sharp is in there. I'll do it without the F sharp, and then I'll put it back in. So we have D. If we have the F sharp, I would put that in here. It doesn't look like there's an A, but we do have C. And we have E. And we have a lot of missing notes. Makes this one tricky. And you can't even see what I'm writing because it went over the edge. There we go. Let's try that again. D, F sharp, A, C. That looks like D7 with a 9 and an 11. That's just our D11 chord. That one's got a lot of missing notes. I won't put anything like that on the test. Let's go to the next one. D minor. Yay! Okay, that one's done. Next one. This one looks fun. We've got G, B, D sharp, F, and G sharp. What? I'm wondering if this G sharp is sort of a convenience or could be respelled to be actually one of the notes that we want. I'm actually hearing that G sharp not as a G sharp, but maybe more like an A flat. Now linearly it works, right? Because the G sharp goes up, but if we spell it as A flat instead of G sharp, that one will be a little bit nicer to us. So we've got, let me just write all this down. We've got G, we have B, D, sharp, F, and then this one we'll think of as A flat. So again, let's start with just the bottom. G, B, D, F. That would be G7 with sharp 5. And then the A flat is a flat 9. So those are all the pieces. So I'm going to call this G flat 9 with a raised 5. All right, this is a flat 9 chord. G, B, D, F, A flat. There's the flat 9. So G flat 9, and we also have a raised 5. So we have the G7 and the raised 5 and the flat 9. That one's another pretty tricky one. It sounds great though. Prelude to Locust. Let's see here. Yeah, really nice chord. And it sounds like it ends on C major, except there are a couple of stinkers in here. Because it's actually C, E, G with A in the chord. What's up with that? It's supposed to end with C major, but it sits there with an A. How would we analyze this harmony? C major with A that just kind of hangs out. I think that the best way to analyze this is to say it as a C with an added 6, right? Because the A is a sixth above. It wouldn't make sense to call this an A minor 7. I mean, it's clearly 5 to 1. Now, I think we can agree that Ellington made a lot of very good chord choices, but his music is still very much grounded in his classical training. If you look at the very first few measures, this is a huge descending fifth sequence. D, G, C, F, B, E, A, D. Right? These are all down a fifth, up a fourth. Up a fourth, down a fifth, up a fourth, down a fifth, up a fourth, down a fifth. So it's really just a circle of fifth sequence that he's using. And of course, rather than just make it all like triads, he's come up with a lot more creative ways of harmonizing his bass line. My hope is that each time we do this, this is giving you a little bit more practice and making you feel a little bit more confident. Now, the next thing we're going to do is on page 20, and it occurred to me that all of your page 20s are in my folder because they're on the back of the assignment. So I'm going to also send you an additional page 20, so that way we can do these together as well. Let's take a look at page 20, and let's look at the second line and see if we can find some of our new chords, right? So we've talked about the common tone diminished, we've talked about the sub sixth, and we've talked about putting nines and having altered dominance with sharp fives and things like that. I'm going to play you the second line. It's in F major, and let's see how we do with our analysis. I'll play it one more time. Why don't you start by first only doing the easy harmonies, the ones that don't have a lot of stuff on it. Go ahead and hit pause and give me the easy ones on this line. These are the easier ones, the ones that didn't have any of the accidentals. Now we've got, well, this one doesn't have accidentals, but it's got an extra note. So we have 3 tricky chords. Why don't you go ahead and hit pause and do your best to solve these. Keep in mind that I've already given you sort of our menu of options on the top. See if any of these fit. Now that you've had a chance to look these over, let's take a look at this one. I'm going to stack this into thirds, see what we come up with. Looks like we have C, E, we don't have a G. We're missing G. I'm going to put a fake G in for right now. We have B flat and D. C, E, G, B flat, D. I think this looks like our 9 on top. And this is very common if you have 4-part writing and you want to have a 9, just to take out the 5th. So that way we can have a root, a third, a 7th, and a 9. You still get that sound because we know that the 5th is optional. So we'll call this 5-9. And let's take a look at, yeah, did I do that right? Yeah, I did that right. Let's take a look at this one here. This one is kind of a weird one. So we have F, A, C, E, but we have E flat and C sharp. I'm going to ignore the C sharp for a minute. If it was F, A, C, E flat, then this one works really well going to B flat. Right? This is an F7, and we're going to a B flat harmony, so I would probably call this 5 of B flat or 5 of 4. And one of the reasons that we did the easy Roman numerals first is because if you can see where the harmony's going, that helps you out. Now we also have the C sharp though. So now we know that this is not just a F7, it's an F7 with sharp 5. So this is a 5-7 sharp 5 of 4. And that gives it that kind of cool, smooth, decadent sort of sound. And lastly, we have this one here. So this is, we can stack this into thirds. C sharp, E, G, B flat. And this looks like a fully diminished 7. Except it's a fully diminished 7 in D minor, and it doesn't go to D. Looks like it's 7 of D, and it doesn't go to D, it goes back to B flat. In this case, when we have a fully diminished 7, and it kind of just resolves in kind of an unusual way, let's look and see if it has, in fact, the root of the next chord as a common tone. Here is the next chord's root. There it is. It's a common tone. So it's a common tone resolution of this, so we'll call this the common tone diminished 7. There's a lot of stuff. Let's try another one. Let's try this one down here. See if we can get a little bit more practice. I'm going to go ahead and I'll play this one for you twice. One more time. Let's do the same thing. Why don't you pause and start with just the easy stuff. Start with the easy ones and go ahead and pause. These are the ones that I think are pretty simple. They're just the triads, nothing extra. So we have a few trickier ones. And let's start with this one here. E sharp, G sharp, E, D. Yeah, and if you want to try these trickier ones out on your own, go ahead and pause now and try them out, and then we'll do them together. Okay, E sharp, G sharp, B, D. This looks like fully diminished E sharp, which should go to F sharp. It doesn't go to an F sharp chord though. It looks like it goes to B major. Which seems a little unusual. Well, here we have B major. Does that work considering that the next chord is E major? Yeah, I think so. This is the dominant of E. B major is the 5 of E. So we'll call this 5 of E or 5 of 5. Now, getting back to this one, it doesn't seem to make any sense because it should resolve to F sharp and instead it resolves to B. Well, what's the root of this chord? the root is B. Does it have a common tone? It does. Another common tone diminished 7. So whenever we have whenever we have a fully diminished 7 and it doesn't resolve right, look to see if it has a common tone with the root of the next chord. So here the next chord was B, that was the root of the chord, and there it is, there's the B common tone. Just like before, this one went to this chord, and there was the common tone, it just kind of stayed there. Let's take a look at these last two. We've got B, D, looks like we're missing F sharp, and we have A, C sharp. We've got root, third, no fifth, 7, and 9. And it's a B chord. I think we've got an answer up here. A B chord with a 9 in the key of A. It is, in fact, 2-9. And let's hear how it sounds. Here are the last 3 bars of this one. So the 2 chord, rather than just being a 2-7, B, D, F sharp, A, we take out the 5th and add a 9th on top. Now this last one is kind of a mess unless you remember mi, do, resolution, and we have so, do. It should go mi, re, do, instead of mi, do. I'll play that for you. But instead, it just goes mi to do. And the mi to do is your tip off for the sub 6. We have E. This is what the chord should have been with re. It should have been E, G sharp, here it is, E, G sharp, B, D. But we took out the 5th and we substituted the 6th. If you try stacking it up and doing other things with it, it's a whole big mess. So with this one, you definitely want to remember that if you hear the mi, do on the 5-1, that's your substituted 6 that you're putting in. We're taking out the B, E, G sharp, B, D, and instead putting in C sharp for the B. Well, it seems like these common tone diminished 7ths and sub 6 are the hardest ones. So I wrote a whole song with just those notes. This is common tone diminished 7th and 5/7 sub 6 till the end of time. Let's hear it. Forever. we're in the key of E flat. Tell you what, this is a good place to pause and see if you can find all of our common tone diminished sevenths and the 5/7 sub 6. Go for it. When you think you found them, unpause and I will show you. Okay, I've got the easy ones done. Now let's look at these. This one is F sharp, A, C, E flat. Should go to a G chord since it's F sharp fully diminished. But instead it goes to E flat. Does it share the root of the next chord? There it is. There's our common tone diminished seventh. And let's take a look at this next one. B flat fully diminished 7. Yeah. Let's go ahead and that one should resolve to C. It doesn't go to C though, it goes to A flat major in first inversion. Well, does it share a common tone with the root of the next chord? Well, what's the root of A flat? A flat. There it is. So notice that our common tone can be in the bass, but it can also be somewhere else. We're just looking for the root of the next chord and just seeing if it's still there. The idea is these common tone diminished sevenths have kind of a barbershop resolution. And let's take a look at this one. C sharp, E, G, B flat. So here we have C sharp fully diminished, should go to D. It does not, it goes to B flat. So there's B flat, this is the root. There it is. All right, now we've seen a whole bunch of them in action. All we needed was a stupid song written by me to help us find it. Well, that gets us to the 5/7 sub 6. Here is 5/7. But notice that forevermore isn't on F. It doesn't go re, 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 do, which would have been the right note in the chord. Instead it's mi, 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 do. We've substituted out the F for the G. So this is our 5/7 sub 6. We're using G instead of the F. And there it is. Mi, do on our 5/1. You'll always spot it on a 5/1 if you see mi, do instead of something like re, do. Now, I think I lied about what we were doing today. I think this is enough for today's lesson. But I will not be able to teach in person when we get back from Thanksgiving on that Monday or Wednesday. So I will be sending you an email with instructions for those days as well. All right, thank you.